Hello there, thanks for joining us here on The Handshake. This is New Vision TV. My name is Lynn Komjisha, and today I have a very wonderful lady with me in studio. She's called Mrs. Rosette Bamwine. She is the head credit and marketing of the Agricultural Credit Facility. Now this is at Bank of Uganda. Mrs. Rosette Bamwine, you're welcome to the show.
Thank you.
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good. Now we'll go right into it. What is this agricultural credit facility?
Thank you. This agricultural credit facility is actually the scheme that supports farmers, agro-processors, and traders that want to deal in grain.
Okay.
And it was initiated by the government of Uganda,
Right.
in partnership with the financial institutions operating in Uganda. These include all those regulated by Bank of Uganda, the financial institutions regulated by Bank of Uganda, and the Uganda Development Bank.
Okay.
And these institutions include, one, commercial banks, micro deposit taking institutions, and credit institutions, but regulated by Bank of Uganda plus the Uganda Development Bank. So all the commercial banks that are operating in Uganda are eligible and are partners to participate.
When you say they are partners, does it mean that if somebody wants to access this credit, do they go through any of those
Any
partners?
of those? Actually, maybe I should first tell you the key objective, why it was established.
Absolutely.
So the key objective of agricultural credit facility is to facilitate the provision of medium to long-term loans
Okay.
to farmers and agro-processors and grain traders at more favorable terms than are usually available on the market. And indeed, another objective, we are focusing on commercialization, modernization, and mechanization. Interested in farmers moving away from subsistence farming
Okay.
to commercial farming, and also for the traders of grain, also to provide market for the grain farmers, for the farmers that plant, for example, maize, beans, simsim, soybean, name it. So whoever is interested in trading and purchasing this, the whole grain value chain also do finance it. And the applications are channeled through the financial institutions. Each one's financial institution of your choice. You channel the application through there, and finally it will reach the Bank of Uganda.
Oh yeah, that's what I was
And
going
when
to ask.
you asked about the partnership, the partnership is that whatever loan we give out,
Right.
it is shared in between. For example, if you want like 100 million through a commercial bank, the government of Uganda will contribute 50% of that loan, that is 50 million.
Okay.
And the financial institution in which your application would have gone through will also contribute 50 million. But if the application goes through an MDI
What
and
is
a
an
credit
MDI?
institution, micro deposit taking institutions,
Okay.
and credit institutions, then the government provides 70% of that loan. And the financial institution will provide only 30%.
Okay.
That's why we are saying it's actually partnership and risk sharing. We share the risk, given that lending to agriculture has various inherent risks associated with it. And that's why the government said, why not join these banks so as to encourage lending to this very important sector.
Okay. Now, who are those intended to benefit from this?
Every Ugandan,
Oh,
even outside Uganda, if you are investing in Uganda.
okay.
So anyone dealing in agriculture,
Any sort,
we
any
have,
kind.
yeah, we actually have various value chains. For example, we can have the crop industry or the crop value chain, the animal value chain. If you are in animal husband, what I mean is like if you are in cows, for example, anything along the cattle value chain, right from getting a farm, fencing it, putting in water dams, developing it, buying the cattle, anything, name it, we finance it. Maybe what we don't finance is purchase of land, planting of trees, trading in other commodities apart from the grain, and refinancing an existing facility. The rest are all eligible. And then if it's like a crop value chain, if you are in maybe banana plantation,
Right.
sim growing,
Okay.
soya bean, anything, whether cotton or coffee, we finance all the activities along that chain. If it is into fishing and you want maybe to buy the fish fingerlings, then also you want a fish pond, then anything to do with maybe goats, poultry farming, name it. We do finance it, all those activities.
Wow.
And I will later tell you how much we give and all that.
Yeah, because so how do I access it?
One, your application has to go through a financial institution of your choice. And you need certain things, of course, to qualify.
Yeah, what are those things?
You have to be bankable.
What does that mean?
You have to be having an account in that bank.
Okay.
So that you've been banking well and maybe servicing their loans well. And then you channel your application through that. We do not interfere with their credit policies. So you'll be required to have maybe a project proposal.
Okay.
Or a business plan, depending on the amounts you'll be borrowing. Yes, please.
Wow.
And then once they approve, then they send to Bank of Uganda for approval and contribution either of 50% or 70%. Thank you.
That's very interesting. So are there any projects that are not eligible? Because you say agriculture, and are there those projects that might not qualify?
Yes, really. It depends upon how you package it. And maybe I would wish first to answer if there was, like, what are these favorable terms?
You tell
What are the
me.
favorable terms?
Yes.
You know, most people learn to agriculture, or most financial institutions, same terms like these other projects. Yet some of the agricultural projects are actually long-term in nature. And you find some banks lending on short-term basis for a long-term project. And that is not feasible. So our terms are like, one, we give medium to long-term,
Okay.
up to a maximum of 8 years,
Oh, wow.
with a grace period of up to 3 years, which other institutions sometimes don't give.
Yes, yes.
Up to 3 years, up to 3 years grace period, depending on the project you are doing. Also, the loan amount also, we don't have a minimum, we don't have a maximum.
Oh, that's very
It shows it depends upon the amount you want and
Yes,
the
yes.
project and how you've packaged this project. So you can borrow any amount you want, provided your financial institution is willing and ready to contribute that half, either 50% or 30%.
30%.
Yes, please. And then you find up to 20 million Uganda shillings, you can access it actually without collateral. So that shows we are interested in the micro borrowers, the small scale borrowers, the medium scale, and the large scale borrowers. We actually cater for all those borrowers along the agricultural value chain, provided they are into farming or agro processing. So we cater for post-harvest handling. If you want silos, stores, cold storage facilities, including trucks actually. If you are maybe transporting to the airport and you need a truck. And then we're also flexible when it comes to repayments. For example, the grain that I talked about.
Yes.
For the grain, the terms are actually different. We give up to 2 years.
Oh.
And no grace period, because we assume whoever comes to borrow for the grain has the grain to purchase, and then suitable post-harvest handling facilities so that the grain doesn't get spoiled. You must have a contract, a market, or you can have adequate stores to store and then sell when the prices are better.
Wow.
So along the agricultural value chain, we sponsor almost everything. But now going back to your question,
Yes.
what we do not sponsor is if you want to purchase land, that one you can borrow commercially from the banks because they will be willing. If you want to plant trees, we do not sponsor planting of trees due to the fact that their gestation period
is
over 8 years.
Yes.
Yet our loan period maximum is 8 years.
Yes, yes.
And then we don't encourage refinancing an existing facility. For example, if you get a loan, it goes bad, you don't pay well, and then you borrow under ACF to pay that loan, then it won't be eligible, won't give you the funds.
Oh.
And then also, we also don't encourage other traders. Like if you are trading in clothing, anything outside agriculture and agro-processing, we don't give such loans.
Okay.
But the rest are actually eligible. Yes.
Well, Mrs. Rosette, allow me, we'll take a quick break. When we return, she'll, give us more, what is required of, for me going into my commercial bank or whatever to get this loan, and how do I go forward?